Welcome back, everybody, to Serene Queen TV. I'm your host, T. This video is going to be a review of the Netflix series Beef that was just released April this year. And before I hop into it, please like, share, and subscribe this video. And of course, let's talk in the comments. So, this show is great. It's 10 episodes, about an hour long. And they say it's like a dark comedy, psychological drama, thriller, like tragic comedy. It is kind of funny, but yeah, it is pretty dark and kind of intense and thought-provoking. But, you know, it's a little bit dark, but it's a little bit lighthearted. So it's great. Like, it's really like just the mood of the show, how they did the cinematography. Shout out to Larkin Seipel. I hope I have their name pronounced correct. And this series was created by Lee Sung Jin. I hope I have their name pronounced correctly. But just a great series. Producers are Jess Anderson, In Min Young, Alex Gaynor, Matthew Medlin, Savi Kathy. Trying to give everybody their props because they did a great job. And I appreciate what they've done. So this series is about, basically the plot is just a road rage incident taken like entirely too far. And it just reveals the kind of people that our two main characters are. The fact that they really can even like get in so deep in this, because you know, let's talk about this with road rage. And maybe I might lead in a different way. Before I hop into the road rage incident, let me just get into who our characters are. Because that's really what this film is about. Again, it starts off with a road rage problem that like two drivers, and they just like, it just spiraled out of control. So, characters. This this series has sexy men just all throughout. But the lead actress is Amy Loud, played by Ali Wong. And then she's, you know, it's up to you to decide who's a antagonist or who's a protagonist. In my opinion, I think Amy is our protagonist, and I think Daniel, known as Danny Cho, played by very handsome Steven Yeun. This is like one of my second films that I've reviewed that he was in, because the other one was Sorry to Bother You, but he had more of like a support role in that film. But this body of work of his, he's a lead. But I think Daniel Cho, to me, he's an antagonist for sure. And I'm going to, of course, talk about that. And a lot of people on Twitter feel that he's an antagonist too. And he definitely is. So those are our main two characters. Basically, beginning of the series, we open up to Danny trying to like do an exchange, or do a return. He's been constantly returning merchandise from this, like, you know, I guess like maybe kind of like home goods plant store. I don't know. So he's been continuously trying to like return stuff, and he doesn't have his receipt, so he can't return it. And we can tell that like he really needs the money. And he hops in his car, he's about to pull out, and then right as he's about to pull out, like, boom, this white Benz is like honking crazy at him. And you know, Danny has like an older model, like beat up pickup truck, and then his shiny white Benz truck is the one that's like causing all the ruckus. And that was really ugly of Amy, because I've been in situations all the time. I live in a big city. You know, incidents happen on the road, you have to honk, whatever. And the most I'll do is give somebody the finger, or honk. But I really don't honk a lot, and I give people the finger even less, because I try to be like patient with people and be understanding. Like, I try to practice empathy, and I get very upset with people behind the wheel. Like, and not like, you know, just again, crazy road rage, but I'm just like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like, I don't get why some people they drive like fucking, like they're just floating on the road. I always say that. It's like they're just hoverboard. It's like, yo, get serious. Because I drive with a purpose. I don't say I'm an aggressive driver. I'm just an intentional driver. So I really don't enjoy driving. So I'm just trying to get to my destination. Therefore, I don't even put enough energy and time into getting consumed with road rage events too deeply. Some people really take me giving them the finger like really serious, and that's kind of why you do have to be, very careful when you do that type of stuff. Because, and I never did anything like Amy where like I stop, it's like, I'm actively driving on a highway, give some flip to my bird, like asshole, and then move on. But like Amy, like completely going out of her way after honking for so long and then giving the finger again. It's just like, Amy, go home. Like, you've already honked for like ever. Like, go home. You had your moment, go. And I think that's like, again, one of the big themes in this show. This show has some really great themes. And a big theme in this show is letting it go, like learning to let shit go, because that is a big issue, especially with Danny, that he has. Like, he has a big problem with letting go of things, letting go of his brother, in a healthy way, letting go of situations, letting go of his ex, just letting go. He holds on to shit, and holding on to shit really like is hard on you, but I understand, because it's hard to move on. Like when you love someone and when your life doesn't work out the way you want, or whatever, like you can hold on to things and things can just be difficult. Like everyone perceives life differently. Life is a struggle. If you do suffer with mental health issues like anxiety or depression or just any of that stuff, a lot of these people are like on this show, something that Amy and Danny have in common is like they're super fucking anxious. Like they are highly functioning, barely functioning, like just over anxious, like hyper anxious people. And I felt very seen with this show, because I do struggle with anxiety, and I mean most people do. But I know how it is, for it to have like rough anxiety moments, like to have an anxiety attack, to feel very frustrated, to feel very fed up, to feel like life is just beating you up and like you're always having to swing. Like I know how that feels, and it's a very frustrating feeling. And I like how this movie talks about faith, because you really do need faith, and I believe in something like greater than you to keep you pushing through and to give you that strength, because doing it all on your own is so difficult. Like it is impossible, because I believe that we as humans just have a little bit of free will. Like we don't have complete control. We clearly don't, because if we did have complete control, our lives would turn out the way that we wanted them to, and we'll be able to control every little thing that happened to us. We'd be able to control our actions, who comes into our life, who we would be able to control so much. And if we had complete control of everything, then that would make us God. And then that is where, that's how we would, really just, again, be a creator. We have limited free will. Ultimately, from my belief, proud follower of Christ, ultimately God is in control. The father of Christ is the one who's really in control. And I think that that's where this movie kind of misleads people towards the end, with its understanding of God and its understanding of, a higher being. But that is I'm going to save that for later, because everything mainstream has a little bit of programming in it. But I'm glad that this movie did talk about Jesus, and they did go to church. I'm really happy that it did show that from a Christian side of religion and faith. However, letting go is a big thing that's a part of this film. It's a big theme. Learning to let go, a spiritual journey, mental health, socioeconomic status, loneliness, depression, anger, blame, the meaning of life, karma, relationships, family, and revenge. Those are heavy, heavy themes all through this series. I keep saying film, so sorry, series. It really was a cohesive project, so it kind of comes off filmy. It felt like it went by so quickly, and that's just because it was really, really good. But it was super cohesive. The episodes were very cohesive. They flowed right into one another. Cohesive storyline, chronological timing. Like easy to follow, easy to flow with, but still thought-provoking and very, very deep and multi-layered. Let me see. I wanted to say something else. I think that's all for now. I think that's all I have on that. Oh, yes, because I talked about the writing. So, yeah, the writing is excellent on this show. Yes, on this show. And it's rare. So we got to get it together with our writers here in America with the writing strike and all that, because this is excellent storytelling from the producers and writers of this show. But anywho, Daniel, to me is the real antagonist, because he's so lonely that he's like toxic. I think Amy is truly a good person. I think Danny is a bad person. I think in life, no matter, everything is not black and white. I do think that we have a spectrum in everything. But I think if you continuously like paint from one side of the spectrum, it's because you like that side of the spectrum, like you're making a choice to be over there. And like there is a good and a bad in everything, like the yin and the yang. And which also is a great representation of a spectrum with just using black and white. However, if you continuously like hang out on one side of a spectrum, it's just because like you vibrate on that side of that spectrum. Like that's where you belong. That's what you align with best. And that's where like your soul feels comfortable. And like, that's just how you operate, because again, you're vibrating on that level. And I'm an artist who does paint. So I really am talking about like, even colors and sounds and vibrations. Like these things have, again, they have frequencies and vibrations, and that like either resonate with us or don't resonate with us, which is why we like certain music. That's why we like certain colors, because we match that vibration, or we feel in tune with that vibration. So I said all that to say, like, as far as Danny is concerned, I think he has consistently made so many ugly choices. He makes so many ugly choices throughout this series that lets me know, like, that makes me feel like he's just a bad person. And Amy, I think, has good intentions more often than not. So she's a good person who makes poor choices, and because she's not in tune like with her true self. And so that's what separates her and Danny. I feel like he intentionally does evil shit, whereas Amy has, the road to hell is paved with good intentions too. So doesn't mean that you're a bad person. You could just be making bad choices, and you being out of tune with yourself is why you're out of alignment and you don't follow the right path, and you make certain things, and things happen in life to try to show you and get you back into alignment. So I'm going to talk about like these relationships between these people to kind of help us understand things better. I think it's important to note that with Amy and Danny, they come from different socioeconomic statuses, and they are two people who have like officially met their match. When they meet, they're both extremely fed up with life. They have a lot going on in their life. They're in big transition periods, and they're both Asian, so they have that in common, but they're like different. They have different heritage, and again, like had a different upbringing and live a different life now. Amy is wealthy. Danny is not. He has, like he said, he's had to hustle his whole life, and Amy has had to hustle her whole life too, but it's just paid off for her better than it has for Danny. And that's where karma comes into this, because part of why Danny has had such bad karma is because because again, he just does bad things and he does evil, whereas like Amy has really been like fighting for her motherfucking life and like really trying to do the right thing and like trying to be a good person, trying to be a good girl. And so she's had her fair share of like good karma come to her through the success of her business, having a healthy baby. She was married, she married well. And her marriage wasn't perfect, but she just was able to achieve a little bit more of like the textbook pillars of success than Danny, because his issue with letting go kind of just allowed him to make bad choices, and then that resulted in like poor karma coming towards him that kind of left him feeling like stagnant, and not leaving him feeling stagnant, but just leaving him like in the same spot for years. And I mean, even with, it goes deeper. So let me try to get into some more of these characters. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like before I get on that, rule number one, or point number one, is Amy and Danny took the road incident. I would have like been tapped out with, that incident. The fact that they got into a neighborhood and they're driving off fast and crazy could have harmed somebody. For me, the revenge is just not that, it's not that serious. And again, before I get into the characters some more and their relationships with each other, I want to talk about more of the themes again. So the theme of revenge, as I go back to like the first incident that really went too far and that just spiraled out of control, which is the incident after they were both leaving the store, and Amy gives him the finger, she drives off. Danny continues to like follow up behind her because he's like, I just can't take anymore. And he's like just finally ready to retaliate against people fucking with him. He's just had it all fucking day. He's had it all his fucking life. And he's just like, no, I'm not going to continue to take this. So him and Amy end up getting into like this big, like, again, further road rage incident all throughout the streets of LA. And she's like throwing stuff at his car, and even like after that, and like they're in the neighborhood, and again about to get into a fucking accident, about to hurt people, running red lights. It's just too much. It's too much. And again, for me, it's like, look, guys, it's about to get dangerous. Somebody's about to get hurt, killed. If they would have ran into somebody, it would have definitely probably been a fatal accident. Now you've totaled your car, and it's like, Danny, why would you risk totaling your car knowing that you already broke? You broke and you live in LA. You know what I'm saying? You have two things working against you, and your brother not helping you with the rent. So you know what I'm saying? You trying to do a road rage incident. It's like, nigga, if something happened to your car, you know what I'm saying? You work in construction. You need your car, bro, so you could go to work. And that's something that Danny not even thinking about because he just so overwhelmed with rage. And there's like a saying, like the one who enrages you is the one who controls you, because you can't, like, you have to be bigger and more mature. And that's another theme in this thing is maturity. Like, you have to be more mature than to let somebody petty little stupid little actions like fucking irk your nerves. Like, people can piss you off, and you can set boundaries and talk firm and bite back and let them know, like, here's what you're not about to do. But when you start to like seek revenge and you invest in energy and time and thoughts into somebody else, especially negatively, you thinking of how you're going to hurt somebody, you thinking about you putting so much time and energy into another person, and it's just like, you have to put that same energy into yourself. The same energy that you put into trying to attack somebody, how about you use that same energy to try to better your motherfucking self? And really ask yourself, why do I feel the need to attack and get back so goddamn bad? If you really have faith in God, and this is where this connects to that too, that theme of faith, you would just be like, you know what, fuck it, I got better things to do. I have a job to go to. I have, money to make. I have, again, bad bitches to be with. Rich niggas to talk to. I got other shit to do than to be worrying about this funky bitch. Fuck you. The universe gonna get your ass. Moving on. God saw you. You have faith that, like, God saw it. God gonna handle it. You have faith in the universe. But when you don't have faith, you think you can control every goddamn thing, and so you go run off and you try to go take karma. But a big theme of this film also is every time these two try to go take karma on each other and do each other dirty, they only hurt each other more. They only self-sabotage in the pursuit of trying to hurt each other. And part of that is because they're just like each other. These are two sides of the same coin, two people who have met their fucking match. They have their differences, but they are a lot alike. And most of their differences are just artificial things, or surface level things. When it comes to But they're definitely soulmates, which is why they've met each other's life, because they vibrate on the same frequency. As far as Amy and Danny, another thing with Amy, it's just like, Amy, you so focused on getting back at Danny the whole motherfucking movie. You neglecting your husband. You can't even pose for the pic for your daughter painting because your phone blowing up because you trying to take revenge on somebody else. Meanwhile, it's like, Amy, you were gonna get in trouble for fucking around on your nigga, whether you really cheated on him or didn't. Because at some point with your phone always buzzing and going off and shit, you know, your man was gonna check your phone and see your phone at some point and be like, who is this, and how was you going to explain that? And that's another thing that was really missing in her marriage was communication. I guess I do want to go ahead and get into her marriage because I really wasn't feeling her husband, and a lot of people weren't. So Amy was married to this dude named George, this Japanese Nepo baby. He's played by Joseph Lee, who's actually a real life successful artist. But as far as, you know, Amy and George, like, George, again, on the outside, he seems just so calm and so cool, calm and collected, so level-headed, and, you know, he's like the rich dude, you know, again, born into wealth, good looking, he tall, got it all. It seems like he has it all. His wife is successful, but he's really empty and not happy his damn self. He running around having an emotional affair with his fucking wife's worker, his wife's employee, who's a complete fucking bimbo. And this film, or this series, did a good job of talking about, I think, on the low, how Asian men kind of fetishize white women, but because they all wanted them some white girl. But when it comes to you know, George, just like, George on the surface, he comes off as like the perfect dude. He's really smart. He says wise things, but that doesn't mean that George don't have his own struggles. George is not happy career-wise. He really don't even want to be with Amy anyway. I mean, I would have divorced that nigga when he was like, I wonder what my life would be like if I never met you. And it's just like, that's not something that you say to somebody that you love. That means you think about a life without Amy in it. Like, you really never did you wasn't really truly in love with Amy. I think he loved Amy on a surface level, but he really wasn't in love with Amy. Just like Amy really wasn't in love with him, because Amy didn't feel completely seen. She didn't feel completely heard. And I would have, again, I even before all of the bullshit popped off with them and him fucking, with me finding out that he was fucking around with the employee, I was like, damn, they shouldn't be together because he don't understand her. And he don't listen to her. Like, when Amy says she's frustrated and when she expresses emotion, especially emotion that's negative, all he do is try to drown her out with a positive placebo pill. You know, oh, think positive, meditate, do this, do that, you depressed. And it's like, you keep trying to diagnose everybody with depression. And he's just completely not understanding, like, just the psychosis or the psychology of Amy. He doesn't understand. Amy's a little anxious, but she's had, like, trauma in her life that has made her that way. And so and like the therapist was saying, like, Amy is self-aware. She understands why she's anxious, but she's struggling with, like the therapist was saying, creating new behaviors because she's been anxious for so long. This is like all she knows. She doesn't even know how to not be anxious. She has to, like, truly go through another life-altering event to change her. But, like, she's going through, and that's what's happening in this series. Her and Daniel are on a spiritual journey, and they have to destroy the old them to make a new them. Part of their metamorphosis is self-destruction. Like, they are in a way star-crossed soulmates, or they have a karmic relationship that they need to have with each other to evolve. They have to meet another them. They have to meet their match in order to both, by them coming in force with the same energy, it forces them to self-destruct and, again, rise like a phoenix. So I hope y'all are feeling me, because that's how this spiritual stuff works. You meet certain people to evolve and become a new you. And that's how we continue to change and grow through life and become different versions and forms of ourselves, is through relationships, and how we grow within other people and see parts of ourselves through other people. And again, not everything is forever, because sometimes once you reach a particular growth point with that person, there's no more growing to do. You've outgrown them, and you grow apart, and now you can, do other things. Like Amy and George, they will always be connected through Junie, their daughter, but now they can try to fulfill their deep desires in the ways that they need to for their own individual growth. Because George, let's talk about again how he was really not happy. Like, George was beating off to Mia, the fucking employee, and he said he didn't fuck the bitch, but it's just like, you know what I'm saying, you had an emotional bond with her because she's an escapism for you, truly. She's a form of escapism, and maybe she does understand him in ways that Amy doesn't, but it's still, again, a form of escape from your marriage. And that's something that, why these people gotta be doing all this shit? I'm just like, bro, I'm really just trying to record, and niggas are outside. I'm by a window in my house, and these hoes are just doing the most outside. But I'm just like, George, what the fuck you got going on? And another thing is, George, I think he feels like being Mr. Mom. Like he said, I didn't imagine myself being Mr. Mom. But like his mama said, like, you want to be somebody that you, I guess, but she was like, he has no talent. And I'm thinking, you want to be somebody that you really not even meant to be. You're not satisfied with being a stay-at-home dad. And I get that, because I want to have a conversation about masculine and feminine energies. But it's like, George, you really don't want to be at home. But Amy really want to be at home. You really want to be the big artist. But Amy is the big artist. It's just like, y'all are not living like your true path. Because Amy said, I want to be taken care of, and I want to be at home with my kid all day. She want to be a stay-at-home wife. Meanwhile, she grinding and working like a slave. Her man want to do what she doing, but he at home being, again, Mr. Mom and being all unsatisfied. And that's part of why he fucking with other bitches, because he's looking for an escapism. And that's part of why, again, Amy could run around and was fucking with Paul, Danny's brother, and doing all that shit with Danny in the first place, because it was a form of escapism as well. It doubles as that. She had somebody else to text. She ended up getting into an affair, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like her life at home. She loved her daughter, but she's really not happy in her marriage. And her daughter, even her own daughter, is still, like she said, like not feeling that void now, hole within her. And she thought having a kid would do it, but it's like it won't do it, because it's only Amy that can fill that hole within herself. She can't put that on her husband to fill her up. She can't put that on her daughter to do that. She can't put that on her parents. Amy has got to handle Amy's fucking load. And that's something that Danny struggles with. It's like, Danny, you have to do for you. You can't try to take your brother, your brother's shit and do whatever the fuck what else. Like, you start making excuses and just being a bad person. Like, that's really the issue with Danny. He's just a bad person. But Amy's not a bad person. And her and George, they needed to split up, because they would have split up anyway, because they would have continued to have affairs outside the marriage, whether they found out about what each other was doing or not. And George, again, at some point, he just would have been like, yo, I'm done with this Mr. Mom shit, a lot of it too, I think we do need to talk about, again, the situation with the masculine and the feminine. I understand why Amy worked and did what she had to do, but I just wish Amy would have walked more in alignment with who she really was, because I get her really loving her business and really loving being an artist, and she's talented. Her plants and whatever she got going on, like, that's dope. I guess her husband really the one who do the art, but with Amy, and women got to understand this. I get it. You need to go out, get your own money. You need to work, so you could feed you, and you don't have to rely on nobody else, and you don't have to deal with nothing you don't want to deal with. Having your own shit means you don't have to take abuse. But it's just like, Amy, look at you. Now you paying him. You know what I mean? Now you're taking care of him. And what did you say? I want to be taken care of. You want to be taken care of. And I just wish that George and Amy both walked more in who they really were, because I think George needed to be married. Like his mother says, mom, Fumi was like, he needs you, whatever. But it's just like, he needs to be married because he needs he needs a partner to give him direction, but it's just not to Amy. He needs somebody that can make him feel big, because and let him be a man, and but he has to do that within himself too. He has to step up and be a man and be true to himself and lead, because it's like George really wasn't giving masculine dominant energy, and that's part of why Amy had him sitting at home. And that's part of why she stepped up to the plate as the masculine one, because he really don't radiate that. But that's why he wanted to go hang around with Mia, because Mia is a bimbo. And it's not to discount her. It's just to say, like, she just carries herself different. Like, she is a woman that makes him feel big. And men are men. They have egos and they are different than women. They need somebody to make them feel big. Just like women want somebody to nurture them, and women want somebody to care for them, take care of them, give them security. Women want a man to protect and provide, because that's why men are bigger than us. That's why we're smaller than them. So it's only natural for a man to want to feel big, to want to lead, to want to feel dominant, to want to protect and provide. George didn't feel like he didn't really feel like the man in his marriage. He didn't really feel needed in his marriage. He felt like more to support. Whereas with Mia, he can be dominant over her. She looks up to him a different way. So Amy also, that's what's nice about Paul is dominant. He's buff, he's built better than her husband. They both are attractive men, but Paul just has like an edge to him. And he was immature when after she didn't really want to give him any money, he was immature with how he handled it. But he does have more masculine energy. He's more romantic. He understands her sexually better, or he understands her better sexually, and they are able to just really connect. Like, he connects with her on on an emotional level and a mental understanding better than George did. And yeah, he's just, I don't know. Again, his energy is more dominant, more aggressive. And a woman like Amy wants that. Any woman wants that. Because even if Mia would have met Paul, she would have really been, again, he was there for Mia. He liked Mia's look. So if Mia would have been, if she would have had the opportunity to be with Paul, she would have been falling over Paul too, because he has a masculine dominant energy that pulls women in, and he's good looking, but his energy is there too. He has the body, he has the physical look facially, and he has the energy. So he would have, now him and Mia may not have mentally connected like him and Amy did, but they definitely probably would have physically connected, because women like dominant masculine men naturally. And that was the main issue in the marriage with Amy and George. And I just wish she would have got with a guy who could have really taken care of her and given her the stay-at-home wife life that she wanted, because then she could have just been more of herself. And maybe she wouldn't have had to take her business so serious, because she would have felt like, I have the comfort of my husband. I can really just do this on my own terms as a hobbyist, or, just let my business grow organically, because she just was so concerned about money. And while her husband comes from money, of course she wants to have her own, but her, that estate was kind of racky anyway. You know what I mean? So it's just like, he really wasn't, I don't think George really had, plus he wasn't driven. It's not like he was actively working to grow his parents, his father's art business. His mom is really still in charge of that. So he could make some decisions, but again, he clearly he's not an alpha male. So he's a beta male with an alpha woman, and that just really doesn't work for too long a lot of times. He handled the situation really cold. I'm glad that he came back to look for Amy, but when he was like, I'm just going to get a divorce, I'm going to let the lawyer sort it out. That was very immature and cold, but men can be like that. And this is why I tell women, do not condone cheating, because when we cheat, we are never forgiven. Rarely, like very, very, very rarely are women forgiven for cheating. Okay? But we continuously allow men to abuse us sexually and emotionally with cheating, because cheating is sexual abuse, because you're messing with somebody's physical health by running around. So STDs are real. So women need to stop condoning it, because if the shoe was on the other foot, a man is, again, 99.9% of the time not going to condone you cheating on him. So if he cheats on you, do him how he would do you, because that's only fair. Dump him. Amy could have came cleaner sooner about I guess, what happened. But I kind of wish that she never did come clean, but she needed to come clean so that her and George could go their separate ways and move further along their spiritual journey, because they're really not meant to be together, because they're both really not absolutely happy and in love, and they don't really understand each other that well. So I didn't mean to be on that for that long. Who else I want to talk about? I guess I want to talk about, who? Yeah, let me just go ahead and get on. Maybe Fumi. Fumi, the mom, the supporting, she's a support for the Lau family, or whatever Amy's husband's last name is. Her mother-in-law, Amy's mother-in-law. Very wise woman. I don't like the relationship that she has with Amy in the beginning. I just feel like, again, Amy, because I was wondering to myself, Amy, why are you married to this guy? Because his mother gives you a hard time. She gives you a hard time, and if you can't gel with someone's family, you shouldn't be with them. Period. Like, that's not a good relationship. If you do not get along with their family, run. That's a toxic relationship waiting to just implode. You need to be with somebody whose family 100% accepts you, makes you feel comfortable, loves you. And I think Fumi got better as the season went on. And I like how she tried to keep Amy with her son. But Fumi just rubbed me the wrong way in the beginning, because she was really overstepping some of her boundaries. And that was just like, again, this is another main reason why you should not be with George anymore. But wise lady, overall, and just had some great things to say about, money. But as far as her and George, I think she's still a little bit, I understand she's his last parent, but George does kind of come off as like a mama's boy. I don't know if he's too sheltered. I don't know, but I just think, it's kind of giving mama bear vibes. I know she wants to protect her son, but it's giving that vibe because she just really doesn't, I guess, truly accept and love Amy the way she should. And George is just not an alpha male. So his mother, which it kind of makes sense why he married Amy, his mom is still pretty dominant and wise and smart and strong. So he got with the woman that's like Fumi. Let's see. As far as Danny, let me get on Danny and Paul. Danny is just an awful older brother. It's family members like him that really hold you back and hold you down in life. And I definitely, know about toxic family. I definitely say, look, if you're around toxic family, I just really pray for you and I wish you the best. You do not deserve it. And you have to cling to God. If you have toxic family members, you have to cling to God, because God is the only thing that can help you. You cannot fight a toxic family alone. You cannot. You will not win, because it's generations and generations of people working against you. It's multiple people working against you, and it's just you. And again, even within the people, because even with Isaac, let's talk about Paul, Isaac, and Danny. With Paul, Isaac, and Danny, it's three men with generations and generations of trauma built up within them. So it's three people with hundreds and thousands of demons. You know what I mean? From other generations. And baggage, pounds, three men carrying thousands and hundreds, a pound of baggage. So you cannot deal with and escape and ascend from toxic family members on your own. You need faith. And this is from personal experience, y'all. Like, you need faith to get you away from them. Because I'm glad that, like, Paul eventually got his own place. But Isaac and mainly Danny were just pulling them down. And Isaac was pulling Danny down. And Danny was pulling Paul down. Now, Isaac is the toxic cousin of Danny and Paul. And just a super gangster, got a felony, went to jail or prison, and, always had a get rich quick scheme. He's only thing he cares about is money. And that's part of his destruction, always chasing money. And that's why that's the big theme. And again, this series is money, and how the chase of it, being constantly on the hustle, constantly on the paper chase, it really leads you to your own death and destruction in its own. Because you can't even really enjoy shit. You can't even really think straight, because it's all about just, like money. And that's not what life is about. Life is about peace, family, happiness, love. Life is not all about money. Because these motherfuckers, that motherfucker, when what's his name, when Danny did start making money, he still felt empty. When what's her name? When Amy started making money, she still kind of was going through. Now, I identify with Amy, because I know how it feels when, like, all you want, especially as a woman, is just to be secure. You just want to have your money together. And, like, when she was like, okay, I'm finally feeling good, my money is good, that was like the main part of her happiness, was her money. She's just like, yo, I just got this money, like, I'm good now, I still gotta hustle, because that's the thing too. She's like, okay, I got the big money, now I just gotta hustle for 5 more years, then I could do this. And it's like, okay, so you hustling, and then you get to some place, and then you still hustling. And now what she go do? Buy a vacation home. Now that's more bills. Now you divorce. Now that's more bills. Like, it's not about the paper chase. It's about being happy. Everything is not about a paper chase. And God has had to try to teach me that lesson for years, over and over and over. I'm going through it right now, because it's like, I try to tell myself now more than ever. Me watching this show was at a perfect time, because I was telling myself, just in this phase of my career, like, stop worrying so much about money. Like, you know, not everything's about money. Stop worrying about money. Like, chill. Like, don't worry. You know, you're going to be good. God got you. Don't worry so much about money. So just understand that. Like, when you get the money, you be still having the same problems. But it's nice when you do have enough to just feel secure and you're like, if anything comes up, I can make it go away. I'm good. I can handle my shit. Like, it gives you some sense of control, but over what you do and how you react to things, how you handle things. But ultimately, it will never buy peace, happiness, love, and you know, you will never have complete control over your life because God is bigger than you and your situation. Let's see. Okay, yes, Isaac, just destructive with the paper chase. I think he has mental illness too, just with how he was freaking out when the cops came and about to shoot Amy. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, the way he just always ends up in some mess. He's just super toxic and he attracts bad energy, because Isaac is another one who's just a bad person. Kidnapping the kid, taking the kid for ransom. Like, you're a bad fucking person. Putting a baby in danger. Just like, what's his name? Just like fucking, just like Danny. Them both having a hand in the kidnapping of Junie just proved that they're bad fucking people. Why would y'all fuck with that little girl? Like, it's just so stupid to me. And then Danny trying to fucking frame Amy even after the fire at his house was proven to be his bad electrical mistake. And it's just like, again, you don't know when to quit and you always got to blame somebody else. Like, Isaac and Danny, what they have in common is all they say is, it was his fault and he did this and he did that and he did that and she did this and it's your fault. And if it wasn't for you, because you, and it's like, y'all always pointing the fucking finger. Just like Danny always telling Paul, like, oh, what you doing? And get off your ass and do this and do that and do this. He always on Paul about some shit. And it's like, nigga, what you doing? What do you have going on? What are you about? Fix your own shit. Mind your own motherfucking business. That's another theme in this series. Naomi, one of the supporting sideline actresses, she was another one. Had an issue with minding her goddamn business. You know, Edwin, another sideline character. That was a dude who was married to the girl that Danny used to date. He just fucking couldn't mind his business sometimes. And it's like, y'all gotta learn how to mind your business, handle your own shit, and stop worrying about other people. Find peace within your goddamn self. This series made me feel a lot better than I thought I was, because I am very hypercritical of myself. That's one of my downsides. And so I critique myself very hard, but these people on this show take it up to the fucking extreme. And to the point where I definitely feel like Danny and Isaac and maybe even Amy have some type of mental illness. Like, I don't know if they have borderline personality disorder. I don't know if they just have crippling anxiety to the point that they just need like intense therapy. Clearly that's like on the mild spectrum. I don't know if they're bipolar or they have a form of bipolar depression or bipolar mania. I don't know what the fuck they have going on, but they all act weird as fuck because they don't know how to let shit go. And again, all of the bullshit that they do, the pointing the finger, the wilding out, the this, the that, the chaos. And it's just like, look, they always choose violence. At no point do they ever wake up. And as self-aware as Amy is, she's not self-aware enough to understand you need to stop worrying about other people. And you just need to, like, you just have to focus on you, Amy. Like, stop worrying about that whole shit with just other shit. I don't know. Like, all that bullshit with Danny was just insane. Not knowing when to stop, not knowing when to quit, not knowing when to move on, not knowing when to mind your business, not having any faith and integrity. Like, part of why Isaac is always in some bad shit is because he's just another one who's just a bad person. You always end up money laundering or working with some shady people or doing this and that because, Isaac, you're just a bad person. Like, Amy signed a legal contract. She worked hard to legally build her business and to legally, you know what I'm saying, grow it and take it to the next level and do it the right way and still continue to grind. It's like, y'all two are some cutting corners ass people, and y'all want to do shady shit and you want to do backdoor shit, which only destroys you. It only leaves you not doing it the right way, brings bad karma to you, and it destroys what you're doing. Because you won't do it right. And you always want to push shit in somebody else's name and put somebody else on the risk and put somebody else on the line and all this other shit. And like, another theme in this is, which is in life, is the innocent always have to pay. Just like Junie getting kidnapped. This baby is innocent. She the one who gotta pay for this bullshit popping off. Just like we thought Paul was dead. Paul was just a casualty in this war of a bunch of fucking selfish ass narcissistic maniacs. Danny and Isaac are narcissists. They don't give a fuck about anybody else but themselves. All they care about is money and them. And again, and when they do mind other people's business, they're only telling them how they could be of better service to them and how they could do what they think that they should be doing. Again, Danny, you want to come at Paul trying to tell Paul what he could do because again, you don't have your own motherfucking life. How dare you, Danny, want to ask Paul what the fuck he gonna do with his life when you the jealous motherfucker that threw away his college applications? But now you want to ride the nigga every day. But then you want to bite off of his crypto success. You are a leech and an energy vampire. Like, people like Danny are the worst because, again, how dare you? Just like Isaac, you want to tell everybody, y'all do this and y'all do that. But it's like, you can't even lead yourself out the dark. You can't even get your own shit together. Focus on you. Focus on your growth. Focus on, your higher purpose. Like, I just can't imagine being this consumed with other motherfuckers. Like, I have my own shit to do. I don't like being bothered with people and their whole shit. And I really rather just be by myself and do my own thing. And I cannot put energy into attacking people. Like, that shit is the road to hell, as this show shows you. So it was just too much. I really hated Isaac the most. I'm glad his ass ended up in prison. He was a mess. In prison or dead, he was trash. I'm glad Paul lived. As far as Jordan, I hate that Jordan, the girl who Amy was doing her business deal with, I hate that she died. I don't think Jordan was really a bad person. I think she was selfish and a narcissist, like most successful, wealthy people. But she knew a few things. And it's because she did take life a little bit easy. And she was like, this moment is just passing and we just got to grab onto him. And she really had mastered the meaning of life in that sense. And even though, I don't think, again, she was a protagonist or an antagonist of a character, she was neutral because she could see both sides. She lived for her. Taking her brother's fiance was some narcissistic bullshit, but that she got her karma too because that same snake ass bitch killed her. Because Naomi was so insecure and so jealous and so on the rise to the top and so hollow and so vapid. So it's like, see, the snakes eat the snakes. All these people self-destructed in one way or another because of their own shortcomings. Because again, Jordan was all about getting that bag and all about success, and she claimed she was another one though who was a fake woke motherfucker, a fake healed motherfucker, a toxic positivity motherfucker. That's what George and Jordan had in common. They were both fake positivity hoes. Like, oh yeah, we know the meaning of everything. They can articulate some shit so good, but in their personal life, do they really practice that? Doubt it. Because again, Jordan, for you to even get with a bitch, who used to be fucking on your brother, you have to be a snake ass bitch. And the fact that she didn't even care how her brother felt. And then when she was like, you can have the bitch back if you're gonna, if this is my brother coming to get her, you can have the hoe back. And that just show you don't really care enough, but you don't really care about that bitch. She just something for you to do. And then Naomi is like, again, you a hollow hoe. You in it for the money. You in it for the designer. You in it because you just want to be seen. Again, narcissist. Bitch, you trap yourself in a Louis Vuitton motherfucking garment bag. You are mentally ill. and consumed. That was symbolic of her being consumed with designer and material, and then had the nerve, because you got all of this free time, to go try to sabotage motherfucking Amy. We need to fix your own self, because you's another one. You's an energy vampire, and you broken, Naomi. And you need your ass whipped for running around and trying to attack my bitch Amy. I am the Amy motherfucking support group president. I don't care. Y'all not about to attack Amy. Amy is not perfect, but Amy is not a bad person. And I'm gonna put my motherfucking platinum card on that. Y'all not about to come for Amy. Like, I will not hear of Amy slander. Naomi, you need your ass whooped. I hope your ass got shot, because why the fuck would you come for Amy? And it's like, you know what, I can't stand again another bitch who can't mind her own motherfucking business. Why you had money, bitch, but you hollow. You hollow, and you still not happy. You got a fucking Louis Vuitton garment bag that you want to fucking unalive yourself in, because you so fucking hollow and empty. That's the most fullness you've got out of your life in years, is trapping yourself inside of a Louis goddamn garment bag. And it's just like, again, what do you spend your days doing? Instead of enjoying your money and being happy, you spend your time trying to sabotage other people and trying to get to the bottom of some shit that's none of your fucking concern. That high-speed chase was none of your goddamn concern. But you was just so fucking, you know what I'm saying? But see, again, you was on your own plot and your own come-up. Because you probably was trying to fuck on Jordan the whole time. Because you was trying to get you a bigger bag. And you know what I mean? So you thinking you so jaded and you so consumed with your own come up, you trying to sabotage Amy because you think either Amy trying to comfort your spot, or you think Amy trying to, you know what I'm saying? You just hate to see Amy rising. And it's like, your bitch do not want Amy, and Amy do not want your bitch, but you just lose. You got a lot of that karma on you. So you scared of somebody taking your position because you know how you got with Jordan. And Naomi, you ain't shit. And I'm really not here for your crazy ass. Naomi is sick and out of her goddamn mind. She's another one. Again, a narcissist, a fucking sadist, sick. A lot of people on this show, that's why they call it psychological drama. It's dark, because these people are sick and fucking twisted. All they ass need medication. They all crazy because they got too much time. They crazy because they are so miserable and so hollow, and so they're such empty carcasses that they have nothing but time and energy and to invest in the destruction of others. Period. It's like, not only are you invested in other people, but you're invested into their destruction. If you would invest your time into trying to help people and better people, maybe some of that good karma would come to you. But all you want to do is be a fucking evil bitch and be a servant of Satan. Like, I will not stand for it. Otherwise, y'all, I think that's really all I have. I mean, it was a great show, and they might do a season 2. You never know. Netflix be fucking around. But great performances from all the actors and actresses. Everybody did great. This was just such a great conversation. I really like how at the end, Amy and Danny were able to really see themselves through each other. They had that evolution. They had a breakthrough, a spiritual breakthrough. They did their spiritual growth. They saw how much they were kindred spirits, and they were able to just literally go through something to grow through something. And I feel like they really reached a resolution. Now, Danny is shot. So I'm assuming for season 2, them two about to have another, you know what I'm saying, level up and evolution. And I wouldn't be surprised if them two got together, you know, or if she ended up getting with Paul. You never know. I don't know. I hope that, you know, because it's like, at this point, girl, this is a lot. But I hope you're not smashing the damn brothers. But it was just a really great show. Great spiritual messages, great themes, and plenty of conversations that need to be had. So let's talk in the comments and let me know how y'all feel. Bye.